Hi everyone, this is Flying Gato. Welcome to my review of the Ninja 500R. Hey, that's Ducati. Nice Ducati. So, here we are, Ninja 500R. It has a 500cc parallel twin engine. It's a carbureted engine. Not my most favorite thing. Now a little bit more about the engine. Engine makes about 50 horsepower. It's not the most powerful engine, but it does zip you around, and we'll see some on-bike experience of how that is. It's got a 4-gallon tank. It's got a dual piston, single disc front braking system. Chain driven, and it's got a single disc, single piston, single disc, single piston braking system in the back. So while it's not anything fancy, no Brembos, no dual disc, it really is all you need. It brakes just fine. As you can see, this one's been used. It's a 10-year-old bike. It was dropped one time by my friend. There it is. A little damage there, a little damage to this, a little bit of damage to that. And I already sold it. So I figured I'd give you guys a review before I send it away. As far as storage goes, it's got a little underseat cover here. It's got a little bit of space. There's a battery right there. It's not much. This is where the documents go. It's not a bad space. But of course there are bikes with a lot more space. Like my NC700. If you don't get this kind of bike, it's a storage bike. There you go. So, let's see some driving impressions. Turn this baby on. Makes quite a good noise. Quite a good noise. Revs up to 11,000 RPM. The dash is very well laid out. You got your speedometer, your tachometer, your temperature gauge, and your fuel gauge is, well, there's no fuel gauge. So with these kinds of bikes, it's an old school kind of bike. So you have a petcock right down here. It has a on and it has a reserve function. So when you run out of gas, you put it on reserve, you got another 20 miles. 20 to 30 miles, and you're good to go. So let's go for a little ride and give you guys some riding impressions of this little bike. Immediately you feel that it's a narrow bike. The NC700, it's much wider. It's also much more comfortable since you're not, well, for me anyway, it's more comfortable since you're not sitting so down into the bike. The power is actually very nice for a little 500 cc. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not gonna win against Ducatis or any super sport, but it's not bad, especially for a beginner bike. This was my first bike. I learned to ride on this bike. I put 3,000 of those 3,800 miles on this bike. And to be honest, they were very fun. The only thing I don't like about this motorcycle, like I've said before, it's that it's carbureted. And that's only because when I got this bike, the carburetors were all clogged up. It required a lot of work. Never again will I buy a carbureted bike. That's just my own personal preference though. Some people prefer carbureted bikes. More power to them. They can fix it themselves. Hey, you got yourself some deals right now. Plenty of bikes out there with clogged carburetors. So, riding impressions. You can feel how lightweight it is. It's not a heavy bike by any means. It's very narrow as well. If I wanted to, I could just lane split it right there. It would have been nice and fast. Narrow. It's a narrow seat as well. One complaint about the seat is that you're kind of sitting on your Johnson. It can get a bit uncomfortable at times. But you gotta adjust yourself, move it around, try to get it adjusted properly. Let's do a little speed run. Not bad. You know, it really is not bad. This little bike can get up and go. Especially when it's running right. Now, the mirrors. The mirrors, these are not stock mirrors. Not sure where they came from. I think they're from the 250R. The newer one. They're a bit bigger, but even if they are bigger, I see mostly myself. A lot of people will complain about that on these bikes, but then as you get more experience, a lot of guys just take off the mirrors altogether. Put a little vanity mirror here so they're compliant with the DOT. So a little speed run here. Not bad. Another comment I have to say about this bike: the wind protection, not good. Not what I'm used to anymore. However, this little wind deflector does stop the wind from hitting your body too much, so you're not always trying to fight it. But it does not help the helmet at all. One good thing about it though is that there's no buffeting. No buffeting. You feel no buffeting. Transmission shits very nicely. No false neutrals, nothing like that. The transmission in this is very good. Clutch takeup's nice. Alright, let's go up this hill here. See how the power can be shown here. And shift the transmission. Ready? There we go. Now the controls are very well laid out. Obviously you clutch, brake, you got the on-off switch, the starter button, that's pretty much standard, horn, gear shift, direction indicator, you got the choke. Really isn't bad. The bars are a bit low, they come like that from the factory. Well, they're low for me actually. The super sport bikes have used clip-ons. Let's go on these back roads here. See if we can have some fun on the turns. So easy to flick. This is a very flickable bike. Very fun on the back roads. This is actually, if you don't mind the carburetors, this will make a great track bike. As a first track bike, you know, you learn your fundamentals on this very well. Very rewarding. Oh, sounds good. Very good bike. To be honest, the only reason I'm selling it is because I don't like carburetors. That's it. I'm getting a fuel injected bike to replace this one to take it out on the track. More on that to come. You know, on street manners, very good, very functional, this bike. And to be honest, you look cool riding it. It's a nice little sport bike to start with. I keep saying to start with, this is a really good starter bike for just about anyone. People say 250s. I agree. But this 500R, you hear that? It's sweet. It's a sweet note. It's about to get dark here, and there's another thing that I don't like about this bike is the headlight is pretty weak. You know, it was I guess I'll go into the history of this motorcycle. This bike was designed sometime in the 80s and was not really changed through the 80s. I'm sorry. So let's go into a little bit of the history. Let's go a little bit through the history of the EX500. I'll show you guys, I'll let you guys know. Let's go through the history of this motorcycle now. It was designed sometime in the 80s, engine, the frame, and it was sold through the 90s as the EX500. Along the way, I think it was 95, 96. It had a refresh, and this is the refresh. It sold all the way up until 2009. Yeah, Kawasaki likes to keep their designs and just keep selling them. You know, when it first came out, it was actually a really good bike. It had smaller wheels and different fairings, and they changed those two up. I think they changed the headlight design a little bit as well. Just had a mild refresh, very similar to what KLR 650. What happened to that? They still use the same engine and frame on that bike for like the last 20 years. They just updated the look a little bit. And that's another reason why this is a good starter bike. It was sold through so many years. There are support forums. There's a good community of support people. There are videos of how to repair it. There are articles. People are very knowledgeable about it. There are parts everywhere for cheap. It's a very common bike, which is a very good thing for beginners. You can get a non-running version of this thing for cheap, $300-400. A high mileage non-running version. So I do recommend this bike as a starter bike. And if you want a nice starter track bike, this is a nice bike for that if you don't mind the carburetor. It's very flickable, very controllable, very lightweight, pretty good on gas. I'll let you guys off with a little highway run. Highway on-ramp. Some other miscellaneous thoughts I thought I should mention. The engine is kind of buzzy. You get the vibrations through the chassis, through the gas tank, a little bit through the pedals. Really, your hands get numb after a while. That can be a problem, can be bothersome. for watching. Subscribe, like the video if you liked it, and if you want more of these videos, let me know. I'll be reviewing all kinds of bikes. This is Flying Gato. Thanks for watching. Peace.
We've both been there before. When love shuts the door, it's a losing game. It's a losing game. But this time it's more than another lot of war. This ain't the same. This ain't the same. They say